Welcome to the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast, your home for all things football at Waldorf University, the best small college football experience in America. Hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson, from the secret bunker beneath Bullsdorf Field. Welcome to this episode of the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast. And folks, once again, Andy has abandoned me so that he can go fishing, and that's what he's doing. He's sitting on a boat right now. He just caught, he says, what did he say, an 18-inch? I don't know. A really big crappie, and I feel left out a little bit. But I'm happy to be in the bunker this afternoon as we record this with the head coach for Waldorf Men's Wrestling, and that is Ryan Dickinson. Oh, man. We've got some stories to tell. Coach, welcome to the bunker.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, I can tell you that as I've kind of shared with you already, my wrestling knowledge is fairly limited. I wasn't a basketball player, so you don't have to worry about that. I mean, I tried in middle school, but that was terrible. And so I didn't go on. And then I didn't wrestle. I never did. I felt like I would have been good at it, but just never did it. And I ended up doing speech. That was my winter sport. And it works. I mean, it pans out now. You can see how.
Yep.
But yeah. So first of all, obviously, you were and still are a wrestler. Do you ever stop being a wrestler?
Never.
Never. Yeah. And there's a whole culture. I do know this about wrestling. Like the community of wrestling is, I mean, everybody knows everybody. Is that true?
Accurate.
Yeah.
100% accurate.
And every time that I would, my friends that wrestled in high school and in college, you know, a name would come up, and it would, if they were talking to other wrestlers, or even if they weren't, you know, just talking to random people like me, the wrestling civilian, so to speak, then they would just drop names. Well, I wrestled that guy, and you know, blah blah blah. I wrestled that. They've wrestled everybody, and then it's so. Do you just never forget who you wrestle?
Pretty much. You'll never forget.
Every match is just you recall. I mean, that's amazing to me because I can't remember people that I played. I mean, of course, football. There's a lot more people on the field. You can't remember everybody's name. You know, I remember certain players, but yeah, you remember everybody that you're close personal combat with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even as a coach, I still years back remember specific matches, people, instances. I can recall a lot from the last few years.
And so do you, I mean, when did you start wrestling?
I started my freshman year of high school.
Oh, really? Because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times with wrestling, it seems like they start just as little tykes and then they just keep on keeping on all the way through. But you started as a freshman. So how did that transpire?
So my freshman football coach, he was also one of the assistant wrestling coaches and was adamant about getting guys into the program.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my freshman buddies talked me into it along with him, and I've never looked back.
You had success?
Yeah, some here and there.
Yeah. And so you said you grew up in Sioux City.
Yes.
So what school did you go to?
I went to East High School.
East, okay. And so that's 4A.
Mm-hmm.
So you were wrestling bigger schools all the time. Is the competition harder in say like the higher classes, 4A, 3A, 4A? Forest City's a 2A school, but a lot of the schools in Iowa are 2A. But some of the better, you know, even around here, the wrestling schools are the 1A, 2A, you know, like the Osages and Lake Mills, you know, they've got quite a tradition and stuff like that. So does it matter?
No, in wrestling, no, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just history where the hot spots have been created, and are they still there?
What makes that history? Is it the coach? Is it the families in the area? I mean, it seems like it's a very family-driven sport.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very family-driven. A lot of it starts with the coach, and then it's the individual athletes, and most of those athletes have siblings, you know, out of Osage, or the Schwab family.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you right away dropped the Schwab name. Yeah. Funny thing so I do have a connection with Mark Schwab. So when I lived in the Twin Cities, I lived in the Twin Cities for a couple of years. I lived there and worked for a company. I was in the National Guard, but I was living up there and working. Still was in the Iowa Guard, and I lived in the basement, Mark Schwab's basement, with another a buddy from high school who just had his birthday, by the way. Happy 50th birthday, Matt Eckerman. So Matt and I lived in his basement. In Mark Schwab's basement, and at the time he was with Minnesota, and he was with and then the roommate that he had that lived upstairs, where they had windows. I can't remember his last name. His name was Joe though, and he was also with the program and irrelevant. But yeah, so I got to know Mark vaguely that way. But he was also doing training with some Olympic, but this was back in. This was 2000, early 2000. So he was he'd gone to Cuba for some reason, brought some cigars back. I remember that, and yeah. And then I was living there with Andy Combs. So the Combs family, Steve Combs was in the 72 Olympics as a wrestler. Their dad, and Andy and his brother were big wrestlers. Andy was still training and hoping to try out for the Olympics. I think he had a lot of shoulder issues, so it didn't work out. But any of those names sound familiar to you?
I'm going to bet Joe is Joe Russell.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, who's now at the Olympic Training Center.
Yep. Okay, yeah, that's Joe. Yeah, but then Mark, and you said the Schwab brothers, so then they're at UNI now?
Doug is, yeah.
Yeah. So is Mark not there?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I thought he might have been. He can also play the guitar. I know that. I've seen some video. Yeah, in little side story about Mark. I know he can play the guitar. But yeah, so everybody knows each other. Yeah, and growing up and watching wrestling, watching my friends wrestle, in high school. Their families were into it, and there's one thing, like if you're a basketball mom or dad. And football, football dads can be a certain way, but it seems like wrestling parents, they're into it, and you can hear, particularly some of the moms, you can hear them cheering way off the mat.
Oh yeah. It doesn't matter. Mom, dad, usually moms you can hear the loudest, but yeah. They're always into it. Once you get into it, it's something that's really hard to put down.
Yeah. So you started as a freshman in high school. Did you have any siblings that were involved, or were your parents? Was your dad a wrestler? Any of that?
No. My older stepbrother was a wrestler for Sergeant Bluff, so it was a 2A school.
Okay.
And my cousin wrestled for East many years prior to me.
Okay.
So I just kind of picked it up. It was kind of a family thing, but kind of not.
Yeah.
Kind of on the outskirts, but
yeah,
just picked it up anyway.
And so in high school, what weight did you wrestle?
Anywhere between 125 and 140.
Okay. And so, so let's talk about that a little bit. I'm going to show my ignorance, which is totally comfortable. If you're, you're comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it. I warned you I was going to ask some dumb questions here, but so how many weight classes are there and what are they?
In high school, there's 14 for most states.
Okay.
Not 100% sure exactly what all of those are anymore because they've changed repeatedly.
They do change. Yeah. Well, why is that?
Health.
Yeah.
I'm assuming for health.
So what's the lowest? Is it 103 or
106?
106 now, but it used to, but 103. So when Dan Gable was wrestling in high school, like he was in that century mark, right? In that 100 pound, 103 or 100. Wasn't he? He was in the
lower end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they even had under 100-pound weight classes.
Yeah, he might have been under 100 when he's in high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now the lowest, the lightest weight is 106 in high school and college.
Just in high school.
Just in high school. And then what is college?
College, it's 125.
125.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. You're a lot stronger in college.
Yeah.
Going from being an 18-year-old senior to being a senior in college, it would, there's just a tremendous amount of growth there. Plus the regimen that college athletes go through, just strength and conditioning and nutrition and all that.
Yeah, very, very big differences.
Yeah. And so do you see okay, continue on with the weight classes. So 106 in high school, and then from there, like you said, there's 14?
Yes.
Okay, so where do we go from there?
I think 113, I think, is one of the next ones for high school. 120, 126, 132, 138, 145.
Okay.
150 possibly. But I think they're doing some more adjustments to the weight classes.
Okay.
To mimic in those middleweights more college.
Okay.
So they're jumping to like the 157s, the 165s.
Yeah.
170, 180.
Yeah. And so in college, 14 weight
10
classes.
in college.
10.
10 in college.
And what are they?
125,
Yep.
133,
Okay.
141, 149,
Mm-hmm.
157, 165, 174, 184, 197, and then 285 is heavyweight.
Big jump.
Big jump.
What if you weigh 215 pounds? Like, can you wrestle heavyweight?
Mm-hmm.
You can wrestle up, but you can't wrestle down. You wrestle down, weight-wise, you have to, at minimum, meet that. And so with wrestlers, it's always been, the concern is like, the cutting weight. You have to, they cut weight aggressively if you want to do, what is the Dream Quest, right? Is it Dream Quest?
Vision Quest.
Vision Quest. Sorry, I screwed that. I have seen it,
Yep.
but it's been a while. Matthew Modine, right? And he's in the shower, he's in the bathroom, the shower's running, he's got the sweats, and of course, the best, 80s coach you can have has got the sweats, and then he's got the red shorts over the sweats for some reason, right? We don't know what that's all about.
Never understood that.
Yeah, well, nobody did, but it was a thing. I remember that. And so cutting weight, how has that changed in your time from being a wrestler, in high school all the way now to being a coach? The process of cutting weight, explain that a little bit.
It's evolved quite a bit. Just more science is out there, more understandings. I'm not sure. I think it was in the 90s, quite possibly, that a few NCAA wrestlers died in some questionable weight cut practices. So they added 7 pounds to every weight class, which is the weight classes that we currently have. Okay. And it was less about cutting weight. They didn't care. The NCAA didn't care. It was all about safety and health. Fast forward to kind of now, it is a huge science behind the weight cuts, the timing of your meals, how much you're putting in, how much you're, expending. And these guys track it. Some of those best guys track it inherently. And there's more, there's more drive towards the nutritional side of things as that next edge for wrestling.
They track it themselves. And so as a coach, then how do you, how do you coach that part of the program?
We coach it in health, maintaining health and performance. So if they're struggling, then we pull the plug on that weight class, or we let them sit another week, try to slowly maintain and get down. But we never push large cuts. And the way that we run the program is by percentages. So you could be up to 5% of your weight class over on any given day. So that's roughly 7 to 10 pounds based on your weight class. So these guys are never more than 7 pounds over, typically. And so then it makes the weight cut, and we schedule it out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you're on. Then you make weight. Right. And so it gives these guys a structure on how much weight they need to, or, they typically can lose during a day, how much they need to lose. And it helps get them kind of in the mindset of, okay, I need to get an extra workout in, but we always preach it. It's not an extra workout to get the weight off. It's an extra workout to get better. The weight coming off is a byproduct. And then, so when they go to make weight, they weigh in. After they've done their official weigh-in, they can
they can eat whatever they want.
They can.
Yeah.
It's readily available. We buy groceries and we buy healthy groceries and try to get as much good food for them as possible. Mm-hmm. This year, we did something new, shout out Qdoba and Albert Lee. They helped sponsor us a little bit, and we would have good quality food, steak, rice, no veggies because those didn't transport very well, but queso, good quality food. Yeah. That was on the healthier end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, and they like that, I bet.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the food is, such a huge part of everybody's, situation, and, how what we eat, what we take in. Most of us aren't, watching our weight as closely probably as we should be. But the food quality it makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can't always get, I think we do pretty good with the college, meal program, but at the same time, it is cafeteria food. So, and then they are college kids and they also have stuff in their rooms, they bring back their snacks and things like that. So they do have to maintain it. Mm-hmm. And is that year round or just in the season or?
Typically just in the season. Yeah. Kind of starting at the end of September, early October, once we get started into practice full time, and then up through the national tournament, which is March. Yeah.
Do they, obviously they've got a workout plan now that, the school's out and the kids are back home. You have wrestlers that stick around?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yep. We started that kind of our seniors that just graduated. They were kind of those first guys to really get in and do it, kind of believe in that. Now we have 9.
Oh, good.
Sticking around.
Yeah. And that's always the goal, is get as many athletes as you can to stick around for the entire summer.
Yeah.
It's just easier for them to hold each other accountable and be, we've got our great workout facilities. They have access to all of that. And then you've got kind of some oversight too. And they get jobs around here and locally and things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then you do have a season. Wrestling is a winter season, I guess is how I look at it. I don't know if that's quite accurate, but you start in late fall and then you go into early, late spring. Mm-hmm. So it really straddles the semester program. And Waldorf breaks away from classes just before Thanksgiving. But just like basketball, you still have things going on in those weeks up to a certain point in December. So how does that work?
For us, we give them some more things to do, whether it's community service or team bonding, but we'll switch it up to 2 practices a day.
Okay.
And we'll break up what we normally do in one practice, be able to spend more time on it. Mornings will be usually technique or a lift. The afternoon we'll go hard drills, we'll live, and then a little bit of conditioning in there, and then we'll get out of there.
Okay. And then how far into December does the schedule go?
Depending on the year, up to about the 20th sometimes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then they get a little bit of a break. They come back, but right after the New Year's, you're right back into it.
Right back into it.
Yeah. And there are some opens that happen around. Do they happen early in the season, or is that kind of right after the break that you see a lot of opens or whatever?
A lot of the opens are in the first semester.
Okay. Okay.
Most teams that host opens, they want to get them done early, so then they're not having to deal with that headache of coordination, organizing,
right,
collecting all the entry fees, all that stuff during the second half of the year, which is the most important.
Yeah, that part of the year is so that's heavy conference at that time, or just whatever. Or how does that work? It is you're in the GPAC now, so is it constantly duels, or what is it?
A lot of duels. We also have what we call GPAC duels, and that's been a thing for quite a while now. But you'll duel 2 schools, and they'll be on a rotating basis in November, right before Thanksgiving, and then 2 more that first weekend roughly of February. And then all the other schools that have wrestling, you can pick and choose when you duel each other throughout the season.
Okay. So in the GPAC, do they all have wrestling?
Not everybody.
Oh, really?
The vast majority do.
Okay. Which ones don't?
College of St. Mary.
Okay.
All women's school.
Oh, yeah.
Dort.
Dort doesn't have wrestling?
They do not.
Huh. They got men's volleyball, though.
They do.
Okay.
Right?
Listen, the ceiling height on this gym is far too high for us to have wrestling. We have to do something else.
Yep. And I'm not sure, even off the top of my head, who else is in the GPAC.
Mm-hmm.
But the vast majority do.
Yeah. Now, you have a relationship with Briarcliff.
Yes.
Because you graduated from Briarcliff. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
I mean, I know that only because I announced the Battle of the Bowmen. We do that in January, don't we?
Yes.
And so this is the third time, I think. This is the third time. This last time was the third time I've announced it. How long has that been going on?
4 years.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, maybe it's the 4 years. I know for sure it's been 3. I don't know how the first. I feel like the first one. Maybe it was all. Maybe I have done it all 4 years.
It's been all 4.
I feel like the first year, because I did. You had an auction that first year.
Yeah.
And had that the big Waldorf banner.
Yeah.
That was in the
banner.
Yeah, we bought that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hanging in my shop right now. And it looks good.
It does.
Yeah. So there's and so that's a special event because you have that's a duel with Briarcliff. Is it always with Briarcliff?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
I feel like it was last year. This year it was. Yeah.
Yep, this year it was.
Okay. And so who is it with in the past then? We were in the whatever that last conference was.
So wrestling was in the Heart of America.
Okay. It's different.
Yeah. Yep. So the North Star did not sponsor wrestling.
Really?
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So
they didn't have wrestling?
Nope, never.
Really? Okay, so you had to find your own way. So the GPAC is a better fit then because at least you're in conference.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now in the North Star though, they did have a school called Dickinson.
Yep.
I mean, I know that pretty well.
They were also in the Heart of America with us.
Oh, they were?
They were.
So they did have wrestling, but okay.
Yep, the conference as a whole did not sponsor it.
Okay, all right. And so the Battle of the Bowmen, we can talk about that a little bit. That's fun. You have you have a duel, and it's at the Bowman Fine Arts Center, and you do it on the stage.
Yes.
The process that the day of. That's pretty involved. I mean, you got to haul everything across the road from the field house over to the Bowman, get everything set up. You got to put the pads on the back wall. Mm-hmm. What else you got to do?
So it's not as a day of process.
Mm-hmm.
After that first year when it was kind of crunch time,
yeah,
and the day prior, so I blocked the whole week off.
Okay.
At the Fine Arts Center. So Dan May is my neighbor, so I'm good in there.
Yeah.
So it helps.
Yeah.
But we blocked the whole week off. Track helps move the high jump and pole vault mats as our right in front of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then our guys, we just kind of take our time, get things over there because we compete the weekend prior in Missouri. So they're all a little tired after we get back. But
yeah,
we start that process and get everything over there, tape down. And then it's just making sure that the gift bags for the VIP section is assembled,
mm-hmm.
making sure our guys are doing well. But day of, it's just, there's not a whole lot anymore.
Regular day.
Yeah, regular day.
When do they weigh in on a day like that? Because that starts at like 6 or 7. So like do you weigh in the morning, or is it when they arrive, or
2 hours prior?
That's always the deal. It's always 2 hours prior.
Yep, always 2 hours.
Okay,
now.
I see. Yeah, so then you're not like really like filling yourself with pizza when you still got 2 hours.
Definitely not.
No, yeah. And last year at the Battle of the Bowmen, Dan Gable was here.
2 years.
Was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago now.
Man, time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, so that was. How'd you get him to come up here?
Persistence.
Oh, really?
Yeah. His words, not mine.
Yeah.
Because I thought it would be really cool. He's close by, a few hours.
Yeah.
Help promote the event more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking to level up that event.
Yeah.
However we can, whether it's production value or special guests.
Yeah.
Anything like that. And I think after 8 requests to have him give me a call, it was right after Christmas. He just called me out of nowhere and was like, okay, well, you're persistent. I'll give you that. So
nice.
let's talk about this.
Yeah. so that was pretty cool. And then, and it is a cool event. I mean, as far as so the wrestlers like it.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get a walk up theme. They pick out their own songs?
They do.
Okay. And then I do my best to introduce them. And I can do the introductions. I can do that pretty well. And then I'm getting better at understanding the scoring. So we need to run through that because there's like probably 2 other listeners that don't, just like me, that don't know what everybody else knows. So let's run through the scoring a little bit. Takedown is 2 points.
3 points.
3 points. Okay. All right. Let's go through the points.
So takedown is now 3 points.
Okay.
It has been for the last 2 years. And they even implemented that in high school now.
Okay.
Escape is still 1. Reversal is still 2. Near fall, so back points. 2, 3, and 4 points.
How's that work?
Based on the amount of time that you're past that 45-degree angle and how many times the ref gets a swipe through. 4 swipes is 4 points.
Oh, okay. All right. So then, and then we pin, you win.
Yep. Pin, you win.
Are there points for pins? This is a dumb question.
Team score 6.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm following, and I'm, so you'll have to tell me if I'm doing anything wrong. I can do it better. Now I understand what we're looking for. I would still I'd have to pay a lot closer attention for the near fall part. I understand what the others are. That they're pretty obvious.
Yeah.
You know. So the near fall, I'll have to pay a little more attention to that so I can figure that out. And then the guy that I've talked to that's sitting down there, that's a company that comes in and they do the scoring.
Yes, Matthew Shannon. He's out of Independence. He works with a lot of high schools, like tournaments, duels, doing the scoring for track wrestling. So I've hired him out to bring in the clocks, run the duel in a very professional manner. He does an excellent job.
Yeah. And it's a feature event. I mean, so it's a single mat, lights are on. You got all the Bowman Fine Arts stage lights on you there, and we can do effects. Have the music. They come in from the top and they do their walk up and all of that. It is pretty cool to watch, and it's well attended. So the student body gets behind it.
Yeah. Very great attendance from the get go.
Yeah. I've enjoyed doing that, and it's and folks, it's worth coming out for sure. This is the Gridiron Club podcast, but we're featuring all of our programs there at Waldorf University, and the wrestling program. If you want to come out to as many events as you possibly can, but if there's one that you definitely want to be at, it's the Battle of the Bowman, and it's a really fun event. And this year we were with Briarcliff, and so. Now, was that any relationship with the coaches?
Yes. So their head coach, he was an assistant coach while I was there.
Okay.
Their previous head coach had just stepped down to move closer to home, having children, and both him and his wife are from the Northeast.
Okay.
So he moved back up north. Coach Watts, great friend of mine, great mentor. Wish we would have won that, but that's okay. We'll get him next time.
Well, I feel like you were midway through the weight classes. I think you were neck and neck. It broke away a little bit as you got a little bit higher up there, and then it's always exciting to see. For you, the last. Let me see if I get this right. The last. Everybody waits to see the heavyweight that's like the Big Thunder or whatever. But that wasn't the feature one. Like we had was it 180 or whatever?
184 was our final match.
184 was. So but you had a 165 wrestler that wasn't. Am I getting this right? I mean, he was. You had. Tell me about your ranked wrestlers.
So we had our ranked wrestler was Tyler Okada at 149.
Oh, 49. Okay, yeah. Okay,
yep.
And so some of those are. Is it ever predictable? I mean, maybe as a coach, it's fairly predictable. You know what the other people are bringing to the table.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it can be, and sometimes it's just based on how our guys react.
Yeah.
This year we tried to help them get the jitters out a little bit. We had a practice. We practiced the walkouts and the walk downs, and then they'd get right into live right after their walk down.
Yeah.
And just to help them with the environment, and worked a little bit.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, it is exciting to see it in that venue. So even if you're not super familiar with wrestling, it's incredibly entertaining because they're getting after it out there, and they always do. But it's just fun to watch, and sometimes, you really feel for the men on the mat. I mean, not the other team so much, but I mean, like if things aren't going. If they look like they're not going the way they should, you're just like, oh, I don't know what's happening, but I hope he can get out of that or whatever it happens to be. And you're probably in the same boat, but in a much more astute manner.
Yeah. Higher stress level.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did it. That type of making it we would call it in football with the game day experience. Mm-hmm. You want to make it as big as you can, and you want to, because it's great for the crowd, and it's also it's the best thing for the players. They big time. They want to have it. You want to have that feeling of big time. Yeah. So you want to have a well produced, well run, meet or game for us, and so we try to make our game day as big as we can, and that's with the sound and with the announcing and with the just whatever it is that we've got going on, the tailgating and so forth. Mm-hmm. A little hard to tailgate in January. Outdoors can be a little frigid at this time of year, but that is a fun event, and it reminds me of when I did live in the Twin Cities. Mm-hmm. I went to one meet with and it was Minnesota, Michigan State, and but it was like a homecoming type situation. Okay, and so this was 2001 or 2001 or something like that. I think it was 2001. Anyway, Brock Lesnar had by that time he was in training for the WWE or whatever down in Florida, and so they were recognizing different people from whatever homecoming, and he came back, and they had these like banners of their people that they were recognizing on the end of the gym or field house or whatever it is, and so they were huge. They're big. Like I don't know how big the banners were, but they were just single individual wrestler on each banner, and they were hanging on the end. And I just remember so then these guys would parade in, and they would, wave to the crowd and slap hands, and it was exciting. And and Brock Lesnar, and then they go and they stand down by their appropriate banner. Mm-hmm. And I felt like he looked almost as big as his banner, just enormous. Yeah. And that whole atmosphere is the same kind of deal. Mm-hmm. It wasn't in an auditorium, but they did do some things with the lights, what they could do in the field house. But it was just that atmosphere of thunder and just, it was pretty cool. Yeah, and that's what you want to create. Mm-hmm. Do other schools that we wrestle against, do they do something like that?
Not that I've seen. No.
Okay.
No, and I've been around the GPAC a long time. Started in the GPAC in 2007 at University of Sioux Falls when they were still NAIA. Okay. And I've just been around it, grew up in GPAC town, and no.
Yeah. 2 schools in Sioux City. Yeah, Morningside and Briarcliff there, and they just know there's just no one else that does that.
No environment like that.
Well, that's great. That's the kind of stuff that we like to have that makes us special. We may not be the biggest school in the GPAC, but we are definitely, we've got some things that we bring to the table, and there's some production value, and the kids like it. And you were telling me on the way in that you've got, like a 90% or better retention?
As of right now, yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, all-time high.
Yeah. So what did you do to for that to happen?
We did a few things. We checked in more on the guys, their mental, emotional health, especially being away from home. Winter depression in Iowa is definitely a thing. Mm-hmm. And most of our guys come from way far away. Mm-hmm. So keeping tabs on them, checking in, whether it's bi-weekly meetings or just a simple check-in. Hey, how you doing? How things at home? Everything like that. And more transformational coaching.
Okay, and what's that?
Working more to develop them holistically, making sure that they're staying on top of academics, doing the extra work for wrestling, being a good person. Mm-hmm. And so the little life lessons that wrestling inherently teaches, we're kind of putting a little bit more emphasis on those and making them learn the hard lessons in life, which is a small safety net.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and it's working. I mean, at this point, you lost two seniors to graduation,
Mm-hmm.
and then you said one for grades.
Yep.
But that's it.
Yeah.
And that's great. And then so ideally, or I don't know if it's ideal, every school's got their number that they try to put. So your roster would be around 30.
Yep.
That's where you want that to be. And with 10 weight classes, so you're 3 deep. Is that the ideal situation?
Ideal situation, yeah.
Yeah. And does that flux? I mean, as you go, so like if you are 3 deep across the board, I mean, every week is a contest.
Yes.
Within the team, who's going to be, who's traveling, who's going to be wrestling.
Yep. Sometimes it's a game time decision too. We'll
Really?
take the starter and the immediate backup, and it's a game time decision as to who we feel based on who we know that we're wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
We have the best chance to win.
Yeah, that makes sense now, because that is one of the things I've noticed at the Battle of the Bowmen, where there would be 2 names,
Mm-hmm.
which one am I saying?
Yep.
Even for us.
Yeah.
And so that's across the board like that. Okay. And so with all that's going on, and now that March is past and school is out, what are you doing this time of year? Are you still recruiting? Are you filling some spots, or what is your schedule like these days?
We're wrapping up our scheduling, making sure that we have kind of all ducks in a row, that we want the schedule the way that we want it, to give the guys the most amount of matches, but the maximum amount of rest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cleaning up that, just getting a lot of things ready for the next season, summer workout stuff, some cool opportunities there. And then same with next year, strength and conditioning, doing a few cool things.
Yeah. Do you do any camps?
No. Right now, no.
Mm-hmm.
But we're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Since J-Rob used to be here.
Yeah.
When they closed down, kind of from COVID,
mm-hmm.
we haven't been able to replace it, but we are kind of working towards some of those things. With wrestling being a small community, over at Nyack, Basil Minto, the women's head coach,
Mm-hmm.
his younger brother was just an All-American.
Mm.
We have good ties to Nebraska, a few at Iowa and UNI.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try to bring in some more guys.
Yeah. So you mean like for their camps, or for you to have your own Waldorf Warrior camp?
That's a little bit on the back burner. That one's a little bit harder to deal with. We have Blue Stars that come in. And
yeah.
That's a tough one. They take priority, so it
Mm-hmm.
limits what I'm able to do and when.
Yeah.
Totally fine. We can make it work somehow.
Yeah, but camps are a good way. I mean, I don't know what all the programs do. I think I know volleyball does some camps,
Mm-hmm.
Football does some camps, and basketball does camps.
Yeah.
And I assume that, well, Nigel did, and I'm assuming that since Mike Worth's got quite a background in camps, that he's going to be doing the same thing as well. So it helps your budget too. I mean, that's another way to supplement the budget. And your assistant coaches. Tell me about your assistant coaches.
My assistant coach, Joe Lupton, second year with us.
Okay.
Fresh out of college.
Mm-hmm.
He was a 2-time All-American at Graceland.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. Opposite way of thinking of me, so that's kind of what I needed.
Yeah.
Someone to ground me a little bit. Be the calm, cool, collected person.
Okay.
For the most part. But he's been great. And then we're looking at a new addition here for the next year as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that. You have is wrestling a? I mean, is it an individual sport, or is it a team sport?
It is both.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things that we're also trying to help with the program is the culture.
Yeah.
It's not just about me; it's about we. So while it is, you have to go out and do your individual job, but we have to have all 10 guys do their individual job to win.
Right.
So it's, supporting each other, not just walking off and going and taking a nap after a match at a tournament. It's being in everyone's corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that our team this year has done a tremendous job at, is supporting each other.
Yeah. And that obviously helps with retention too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So that's, because it is a, you're out there on the mat. It's just you and the other guy. That's the individual part of it. Obviously, you've got your team supporting you, but like you said, you get those team scores and winning as a team. That's what it takes, and everybody understands that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's different than any other team sport, like the football or the volleyball or basketball, any of them, soccer. There's all these other players involved, and you kind of share. You obviously share the success, but you also share the the blame and the failure. It's harder to share failure to some degree when it's just one teammate out on the mat at a time.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's no tag team and
no, not for us. One of my seniors, put it best. He goes, "Yeah, it's great that I win most of the matches, but it's not so great when the team doesn't win."
Yeah.
He goes, "I want to see the team win." I could care less about my match. I know I'm going to take care of business, but I need to help these guys do something more.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes your heart warm as a coach. And as an observer, that's something that teaching that team spirit and that individual effort is something that is inherent in wrestling, but it also translates to, your other job. And we can talk about this a little bit too. So you're also a soldier.
Yes, I am.
And you're an infantryman. So, like what the Army is built on, you either are infantry or you serve the infantry in some capacity, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you have been with the always in the Iowa National Guard?
Always.
So, and as a part of the 168 Infantry Battalion, which is the west side of the state, and that's something that, did you join in high school?
A year after. So after my freshman year of college, joined.
All right. So you've been in for 17 years, is what you told me, or will be 17 years.
Will be 17.
Yeah, and so those lessons, because you're now, you're obviously a leader. You're an NCO. You're going to be a platoon sergeant here shortly, and so non-commissioned officer at NCO stands for for those who you're a sergeant, staff sergeant now.
Yes.
Yeah, and are you getting that promotion to starting first class?
Hopefully soon.
Right?
Yep.
Nice. Good. So that's fun. That's 3 up and 2 down. That's good. And so then the responsibilities go up. But those leadership courses and the training that is involved in becoming a soldier and dealing with one another, taking care of one another, all of that applies to, being a soldier is a team sport as well. You accomplish everything as a team.
Yeah.
But one-on-one in close personal combat, you're right back to the wrestler. So talk about how that marries up well with what you do in both capacities of these 2 different jobs.
So both organizations are family-oriented. It's a brotherhood left and right for the Army, same thing for wrestling. The culture is identical. From being infantry to a wrestler, it is identical. There's very few discrepancies. All of the shenanigans that happen, all of the jokes, it's all the same. Yeah. It's all the same.
And I've got some experience with that culture myself, and I appreciate it. It makes me think of, the watchfulness that is required for height and weight, particularly for weight in wrestling. That is a real thing in the Army. Height and weight matter.
Yep.
Yeah. And when I was a recruiter for the National Guard, I had great success with Waldorf recruiting wrestlers. And not being a wrestler myself, I put a lot of football players in, but per capita, it was a lot of wrestlers. And I never worried about a wrestler, not for discipline, not for physical fitness and readiness. Never had to worry about making tape or weight or any of that. It was always, nobody needed to make tape if you were a wrestler, and I loved it because as a recruiter, then we would take them to the RSP, the Recruit Sustainment Program. And I would have these, Waldorf College at the time, university, now Waldorf University wrestlers that were just dominating, so like in all the different events we do in RSP, other recruiters would be standing by and, and then we'd be like,
not taking bets necessarily, but I'm like, listen, my kid's going to come in first or second in this 2-mile run. I can tell you that, and it was awesome. I loved it. The discipline and the mindset that went along with whatever it takes to be a wrestler. And same thing in high school, but at college, at that point in college, if your dad was making you wrestle in high school, then you're probably done with it if you don't love it.
Oh yeah.
After high school. Mm-hmm. But in college, I mean,
you choose to be there.
Yeah, you have to, because it's not easy. Training isn't easy. It's a constant. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. And I have 3 of my athletes currently serving.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Excuse me. That's great. Good for the recruiter. That makes me happy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just, and I always tell when I got in charge of recruiting, I would tell the same thing to all my recruiters. I had 10 recruiters, and I'd be like, go find your wrestlers, because they're never going to fail you on your fitness stuff, and your discipline's going to be good, and they get it, And so, have you found that to be the case? Do you have soldiers that serve for you that are wrestlers?
I have one. He just shipped to training Monday.
Okay.
So he'll get back this fall, winter timeframe. But he's actually coming to my unit.
He's going to be an infantryman.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. 11 Bravo, friends, is what that is. 17 years is a long time to be in the infantry.
Yeah. Magnifies when you're also doing wrestling.
Yeah. And did you ever feel like, the infantry is getting harder as you're getting older?
No,
you're
sleeping
fine.
outside. Some of those times it does get a little bit rough.
Yeah.
But no, everything. I think I was extremely sick one year in the fall. Didn't train for like a month and a half for our fitness test, and this just shows the discipline and the mindset. Is I walked through and had 0 issues.
Yeah.
So I can do it untrained and go crush it.
Yeah.
Because it's a mindset behind it.
Yeah, I felt that way we did, this was many years ago, Tough Mudder. Mm-hmm. First time. I did Tough Mudder 2 times. And the first time I did it, it was I think I had found it. And I was like, oh, I bet we can do that. That seems pretty cool. They give you a beer at the end.
Yep.
And so talked a buddy of mine into it. And he's like, I got to start training. And he wasn't in the military or anything like that. And so I'm like, training. I'm like, this is supposed to be like a military obstacle course. I mean, like, how hard can it be? Like, I'm not a soldier. If I have to do anything special to train for the Tough Mudder, then I'm not a real soldier. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I didn't train, and I made it through. It was fine. I'll tell you this, you don't eat clam chowder and a ribeye steak and 4 beers plus potatoes the night before the Tough Mudder, thinking no problem. Yep. They're eating salads and stuff like that. And I'm like, you guys, you don't know what it's like to be a soldier. And I started cramping up on mile 3, and there's still 9 miles to go. And so, I mean, that was just pure obstinance at a certain point. Yep. Both legs were just completely stiff. Like I was running like I didn't have knees, because I was just completely cramped up from calf to thighs and quads. It was terrible, but I refused to, quit. And that's a mentality that they preach in the military, never quit. And obviously that's part of being a college athlete.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The warrior ethos, and all of the creeds that you and I know. The soldier's creed start off when you get in there. The NCO creed now as a sergeant. All of those creeds are statements of belief in what it is that we do, and how do those things translate to coaching and instilling that never quit mentality in your athletes?
Starts with, never leave someone behind.
Yes.
So we take care of all of our athletes. I live half a block away from the main campus. Mm-hmm. So I host the guys for major holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break. The NCAA tournament for wrestling is a national holiday at my house. So they're always there for that. At least once before, and then once after the season's over. Mm-hmm. So it is family. I'm never going to leave any of them behind. If they're struggling with anything, hours of observation, I'm gonna find out. No matter how how much they try to hide it, I can see when they're struggling with something.
Yeah.
So then we work through that with them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give them the answers because that's too easy. I can tell them what to do all day long, but they need to figure it out, learn that lesson, and grow up a little bit more.
Yeah. Do you same kind of instruction and mentoring and leadership to soldiers then?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got to do your job. Like that's the big, like you don't leave anybody behind, but everybody's responsible for maintaining, their weapons, their equipment themselves.
Yeah.
And those expectations are high, and they're, it's part of the contract. To be honest with you, like we have a contract with, they get they get college money and they get all that, but the requirement is you have to maintain these standards.
Yep.
So how do you maintain standards, or what standards do you have then for your wrestlers?
Go to class, and it's the typical military. If you're not early, you're late. That's one of my things as well. I hate tardiness. So if they're not in the room, laced up, ready to go 5 minutes prior to when we're actually going to start practice, then I lose it.
Yeah,
every time. It's one of those things.
What about pre-combat checks? Like, for infantry particular, I remember those, and it drove me crazy, but like, all of the things, everybody's got, you have to make sure you've everything that you're supposed to have, you have, and it's in the spot that it's supposed to be in. And then of course, if it isn't, they raise hell. But if your soldiers don't have it, you're responsible for that too. So what kind of, pre-combat checks do you have, like say before a meet?
We double check before we get on the bus or when we're on the bus. Does everyone have their headgear? Does everyone have their shoes? Does everyone have shower stuff? Does everyone have, and I don't give singlets out until the night before or when we get there. One, because somebody's going to leave it behind.
Yeah.
But as a leader, I pack extras. I pack 2 or 3 extra pairs of shoes, 2 extra pairs of headgear, 2 extra singlets of every size, because somebody's going to lose it. Somebody's going to forget. And I don't want that headache. Yeah.
Yeah. You're ready to go.
Yep.
That's how it is. I know 100%. I get it. And I'm sure you one of the things the military did for me is that I always liked things a certain way. It just really amplified that. So as now I've been retired for 4 years, but I like things a certain way.
Yep.
And dress right dress is still a thing. I'm in charge of camping for Ragbri when it comes to town.
Oh, boy.
And so, like, all these people coming in with tents, I'm just like, the old first sergeant to me is like, these better be straight.
Yep. Lined up, efficient use of space.
That's right. So they say, yeah, I love it. Now, you're not leaving anybody behind, but you are going to be leaving. And that's something that is important too. Is that okay to talk about?
Yeah, we can get into it briefly.
Yeah, I don't want to get into tremendously, but your service does include, maintaining, following through with the mission. And there's a mission that you've got with the National Guard, and that's coming up. So you're going to be gone for a little bit. And how does that shake out for the program?
So I've kind of known a little bit off and on, just being aware of the climate of the world.
Yes.
When things can possibly come up. So I've been preparing for this for a couple of years now.
Okay.
Just in case. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So my assistant, Joe, I've been prepping him to kind of step into my role and kind of giving him the reins. And I've done more observation this year, more athlete support. And, so once I'm gone, he will step in, and then we're looking at bringing in actually my 149, Tyler Okada, as kind of an interim assistant coach. While he's still studying for PT school.
Okay, all right. So he's like would be a grad assistant.
Nope, full-time assistant.
Full-time assistant.
Yep,
yeah, because we don't have PT, do we? So he's getting ready for that. Okay, National Guard's got a great PT program.
They do.
Yeah.
He's asked.
Has he?
Yes, he has.
Yeah. They'll pay for it.
They will.
Yeah, he will be over there at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln getting that PT program. Then
or Iowa.
Or Iowa now?
I think so.
Oh, really? And I know they go to Texas, too. They're down there for quite a bit. Come out as I think they end up being a first lieutenant, right? They're coming out of there.
Yep. Even physician assistant school.
That's what I meant. PA.
Yep.
Yeah,
PA. School down in Texas.
Yeah. That's so. It's a little daunting. How do you feel about it? I mean, you know what your mission is, and your duty, and that hasn't changed. You've been doing this for 17 years, and you've been coaching for a long time, and you've been a wrestler, and so the mindset's there. But you're still leaving your boys.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, I've done it once before since I've been here. This will be the second one since I've been the head coach. I've prepared them for it.
Yeah.
And they know that they can reach out at any time. But that's why I kind of let Joe take over a little bit more responsibility and governing the day-to-day things. And I was just more admin behind the scenes and individualized coaching. Yeah,
and kudos to Waldorf, too. I think kudos. Like, obviously, this is your second time around that's coming up here. And so how do they, with Chad Gassman and the crew at the athletic department, the executives, the administration up on the Hill, how do they react to all of these additional duties?
Super supportive. Nothing but support. You know, hey, how can I help? And everybody on campus that I know or that's in the neighborhood, at the athletic department, hey, if your wife needs anything while you're gone, you guys need anything, just let me know.
Yeah.
And then my team is already starting to create a calendar and dish out duties on who's gonna shovel, who's gonna mow, who's gonna put up Christmas lights.
Yeah.
They're dishing out duties already.
That's amazing. And you are close to campus, so that does help. What does your wife think about this?
This is her second time around for it as well. The first time we just started dating and I left. So now she's a little bit more used to it, understands the requirements. The only thing different from the last time is we have a dog.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that's going to be the hardest part is leaving.
Do they have an infantry ball? Do you guys?
We do.
Yeah.
Never been.
Never been. So she doesn't know.
Nope.
Listen, folks, if you really love prom, and after you leave high school, the only prom that exists, in my opinion, is if you're in the military, because they have usually an annual banquet or event or ball, as they call it. For the artillery, it was St. Barbara's Day ball. I took my wife to one of those. That was enough for her. And then, good times. I've been to more than one myself, but those are so she met you. You were already a soldier, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. So she just knows you that way. Yeah. My wife is the same. She met me. I was already at that point staff sergeant. So she's like, I guess this is just a culture that there is, And so I think it's a little probably more challenging if a person is married and then they become a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. I mean, I don't know about an airman, probably no difference there, but just because a couple Army guys. So yeah, that's I think that's probably a little bit of a culture change, for somebody to do. But she's used to that. But it's awesome that the team's there, that the university is there. And I'll tell you what, the Gridiron Club is there for you too. It crossed my mind, like, we got to make sure that mention your name, particularly in our November game. We always have a veterans appreciation going on in that November game. And so make sure that the whole world, at least the world at Bullstor Field, knows that you're out there doing something awesome and appreciate that. It's a tough task, and combat arms is what it sounds like, folks. I mean, the infantry is the queen of battle, which sounds like it wouldn't. I mean, I know the artillery is the king of battle, but I had my first boss in recruiting was infantry and ranger. And so, he let, how they are. Are you a ranger?
No.
Okay. So they let you know.
Oh yeah.
They kind of sit a certain way.
Yep.
I see your tab. So, and then, but I was like, well, yeah, we're the king of battle. And he goes, do you know anything about chess? I was like, well, not really. He goes, well, the queen is the Queen's the big deal.
Yep, Queen's it.
Oh, that makes sense then. So yeah, and you do get all the cool stuff. You get the blue cord, you get the blue discs, you get the extra stuff. But there's a reason for it too. It's a hard job, and you're going to be leading a platoon of men. And in the infantry, what a platoon is, 20 to 30 guys.
Yep.
Yeah, or bigger than that. Is it? No, 20 to 30, isn't it?
Yeah, right around 30.
Yeah. So special missions and all kinds of good stuff. And we'll keep you, obviously, in our minds and our prayers. And you've got the university behind you. And now you've got the Gridiron Club, knows what you're up to. It's going to be hard to miss that Battle of the Bowmen, but it'll be, won't be the same without you this time, but then you'll be back. And by that time, you'll be in your 18th year. And buddy, by that point, we call that the golden parachute.
Yep.
At that point, you're ready to roll. You're going to go for another couple of years, 20 years or longer even?
I'll probably go a little bit longer.
A little bit longer? Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. It was a great career for me, and I enjoyed it, and you're doing it, and you're fit and able to do the things, and obviously being a coach and taking care of wrestlers and being a platoon sergeant and taking care of a platoon. I mean, and also you have to you have to take care of that lieutenant. I mean, they don't know what's going on.
Never
right?
do.
So.
Never do.
So there's all of that good stuff. Wow. Yeah. So keep that in mind, folks. It's an interesting thing. And I think sometimes we just forget that there are people that, are, wearing a lot of hats and serving the country. And that's a cool thing. How do you feel? I mean, what made you join?
My dad was in the infantry, prior to me, but it was just kind of the culture. The recruiter I had at the time was infantry. He's like, "You're a college wrestler, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "It's the same thing.
Yeah.
There's no difference."
17 years ago, 2008.
Yeah.
All right. Who is your recruiter?
I was in Sioux City.
Yeah.
The name's gonna escape me.
I mean, I pretty much knew all the recruiters in Iowa at that time, and I was a recruiter at the time, so that's good. Yeah, that's what we do. I put a lot of people in the artillery too. Like, hey, you like to blow things up?
Yep. He absolutely questioned my choice on infantry. He goes, I mean, if you want to go into the medical field, do whatever you want.
Yeah,
pick any job. I don't care. Just don't pick that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, that one.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is good. Plus, at that time, it was one of the shorter training periods, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
OSIT, you probably went to Benning and you got everything done all at one time.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was a good thing. I always put guys in, like from Waldorf, whether they're, football. Football was easier in the sense that I could send them in second semester and they could do whatever job because they'll be back in the fall. And they won't be in football shape, but they'll still be in shape, you know. Wrestlers were tougher because they have to pick try to cram it into a summer. I mean, that really shortens it down mostly to combat arms jobs. Yep. But even that training has gotten longer than it used to be.
I think it's like 22 weeks now.
Yeah. And it used to be way short. I think infantry used to be 15, 16 maybe, so you could take somebody early and you can get them back a little bit, late, but then they'd be fine in the summer. And now it's like, you got to take a semester. So that can be a challenge too. But when I had success with Waldorf, with recruiting in the wrestling program, it was Tyler Brandt that was the coach at the time. And I talked to all the coaches in a meeting, bottom breakfast, like recruiters do. And I just gave them the whole spiel. And this is how it can work. And I realized that probably not going to get, your A-list number one guy. You have a plan for them. And I said, some of these guys are going to have a hard time taking time off to do the training. I said, but the Rudies, the ones that are the hard workers that are there, that they're not getting the full scholarship, and those are the ones that can use the money, and I'll take them because their attitude's right, and I know that, they're athletes and they're here, so they're going to be okay. And so I thought, this is just going to be, I nailed it. And nobody talked to me afterwards, except Tyler Brandt followed me out of the room, followed me down this was in the field house. And he's like, we got to talk, because he's got all of these ideas and everything like that. And that really opened it up. And then from there, a lot of football players, you know, and a lot of women wrestlers too. When Waldorf started women wrestling, they had a lot of women wrestlers too. In fact, as a recruiter, I don't know if this is good or not, but when you're a recruiter, you've done everybody's background check. So when we needed babysitters, I had these female wrestlers that were great soldiers for me, and I'm like, well, I already got their background. I mean, the background, like I know these are good and they can hold their own. So I had these, you know, two monster boys, you know, at home, and they would be like, you know, like it was like, hey, Pam's gonna babysit you, you know, and they loved it because, you know, wrestle around or whatever, you know, and she could hold her own and all that. Also, when Waldorf got women's wrestling. And Tyrese was supposed to be here, but he had some family obligations. I mean, I've already shown my ignorance when it comes to like weight classes and whatnot. Do they go by pounds or do they go by kilograms?
In college, they go by pounds. When they do like international styles, it's all kilograms.
Yeah, and they're freestyle.
Yes,
and men's is folk style. Yeah, and so. But in my mind, I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know like women's wrestling. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I'm thinking like East German. You know, what is this going to be? And you forget that there's weight classes. And so, so my kids are older. You know, the two youngest, the oldest of the two youngest now is playing football at Waldorf. He's going to be a sophomore. The youngest is a sophomore in high school, and the two oldest boys, you know. I mean, they're a lawyer in Kansas City and you know, what do you call that? I guess, you know, money management guy, finance, you know, whatever. And so they're older. They were in high school. My oldest boy, who was a senior at the time, so would, I mean, it wasn't just Jack and Colin that liked it when they had a babysitter because they could wrestle around and have a good time, you know, and she was awesome. She was also really pretty. And so then my oldest boy would come home. He was like, oh, gotta leave. Like he was out of the football game and home as fast as he could, you know. So that was, you forget about that. How has women's wrestling impacted? I mean, they've had women's wrestling now for 15 years at Waldorf. They're one of the first programs.
First one in Iowa.
Yeah. And so they were the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's becoming a huge thing.
Tremendous.
You know, high schools all over the place now in the state. And so what's that culture like?
Same.
Yeah.
Same as the guy's side.
Yeah.
Same.
Is there interaction with how are the two wrestling teams? I mean, they're all wrestlers.
Yep.
So they got that mentality, they got that mindset, and then there's a wrestling culture that goes with it. So men's and women's, are they all buddies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All friends across the board.
Yeah.
We try to keep them separate.
Yeah.
As much as we can. Just fraternization, and you don't need that crossing both bounds.
Right.
But yeah, they're all pretty close. Yeah. Everyone supports everyone.
Yeah.
Wrestling is wrestling.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, men's and women's basketball. I mean, they're going to, you know, but yeah, there's also that culture. Not everybody's going to get it.
Yep.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're there at a time when a lot of people are gone, you know, so there's that section in the middle there. Yeah. Yep. Very good. Well, I always give the coaches the final word and thoughts. The community of Forest City is, do you feel like they're pretty supportive as a community for wrestling? You want to see them come out more?
Oh, I'd love to see them come out more, but they've been great. The attendance has tripled probably from my first year, 2019 to 2020.
Yeah.
I think maybe total in all of our home duels, we had 50 people.
Oh yeah.
Across like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Now we minimum 50, and that's when nobody's on campus.
Yeah. So, well, that's the time that the community really, because you got the student body when they're in session, but then in that window too, you know, once the right around Thanksgiving and then into that, you know, almost the 20th of December, like you said, hey, folks in Forest City, that's the time, you know, get out, show some love, go support the wrestlers, let them hear you. And even if you don't know what to cheer, you know, like me, I'm like, that's, you know, you can still cheer loud and it'll be awesome. So, and we'll figure out this, the near fall, as that goes.
Yep.
So, but I do give the coaches the last word. What do you want to say to your team, the culture, the community, the gridiron, whatever you want?
Everyone in Forest City, Gridiron Club, the university, the team, they've all been great. I'm going to miss this next year. It's a little tough, hard to step away, being in control of everything, but they're in good hands across the board.
There you go. Spoken just like an infantryman.
Yep.
You're a man of few words, though. I will say that. So. Well, it's a good thing I'm a man of many words. That's the difference, I suppose, between the artillery and the infantry right there. We talk a lot because we can't hear ourselves anyway. Nobody can hear. You want to... The scariest face you'll ever see is an artilleryman in one of those hearing test booths.
Yep, same here.
Yeah, right on. Okay, well, folks, that is it. It's been a great conversation, and I'll tell you what, Coach Dickinson, Waldorf University, men's wrestling, heading off to do some things here, not too far in the distant future. So we'll be looking forward to supporting you and your team, no matter what happens. You've got the Gridiron Club. Gridiron Club's got your back, and we look forward to seeing you again on the other side, as things may go. And so, best to you and to your wife and to your dog and to your team.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So, as Andy will say, and I'm sure he's catching even more fish right now, forever and always, go Warriors.
You can join the Waldorf Gridiron Club and be part of the best small college football experience in America.
Just visit our website and pick your membership level. Find us and everything Waldorf Gridiron Club related, including professional photos, at waldorfgridironclub.org.
You can also click on the Support the Show link in the show notes to donate.
And you can even use the United States Postal Service by sending your check to the Waldorf Gridiron Club, P.O. Box 125, Forest City, Iowa, 50436.
It's tax exempt, hassle-free, and has a level for every budget.
That's right. Anyone can join, even our rivals.
Show your colors. Join the Gridiron Club today.
Get it?
Got it. Fantastic.
The Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast is hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson. Produced by Sunnyside Farm Studios in beautiful rural Forest City, Iowa. Platformed by Buzzsprout and music by Soundstrike. The Waldorf Gridiron Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the student athletes of the Waldorf University football program. Our mission is to assist the program in maintaining the best small college football experience in America.